All right, do you guys know if are you guys doing a video or audio? Do you all know if that's gonna work? If not, I can have a,
911 recording. I'm not sure if we're gonna offer it in public. I think they figured out at least the overhead picture thing.
Yes, because,
usually we're on the docket.
yes, because Judge doesn't want nobody around the well.
Yeah.
Tremendous, can you read it out? Are you familiar with these stipulations that are attached? Please to the best of your knowledge. That is your signature? That is your signature. Are you also familiar with these court conditions? And your attorney has explained to you your constitutional right. And you are within your right to jury trial. That is the signature of the doctor. And your signature right here. Right there.
Swear to God.
Sure.
I was like overlooked, I think I kind of had a headache. I'm like, no.
All right, is there a prosecutor available to take this plea? All right, thank you.
I believe it might need a few findings because they're trying to defer to the right.
Oh, no, we're not, just state proposition, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Another app.
I forgot the non-jury app one.
All right, we can put it on the record.
I don't know where you can.
Oh, they're over here. All right, court is calling 2023 CR 0032, State of Texas versus Luis Enrique Mendez. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state
Sure, I'm Ruben Herrera for the state.
defense?
Will Brooks for the defendant, Mr. Mendez.
And are you Mr. Mendez?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery in this case and did you review it with your client?
Yes, and yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Mendez, it's the court's understanding that you're applying for community supervision. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you are not applying for deferred adjudication. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mendez, I'm showing you what's entitled True Bill of Indictment. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, we do, Judge.
State, it appears you're proceeding on the indictment as presented. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Mendez, I'm showing you what's entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with injury to an elderly person? That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand? All right, off the record for a moment. Deputy, could you make sure that Ms. Abrams is here? All right, we're back on the record. Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, he has, Judge.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, I do, Judge.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Mendez, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, Your
Has anyone promised you anything other than plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen? All right, court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? According to the plea bargain agreement, punishments be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. State recommends community supervision. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes.
Did you understand that to be the truth?
Yes.
Defense,
Yes, Judge.
state? Showing you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No rulings, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargaining agreement. The state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 5 years. There be a TAP evaluation following any recommendations, no harmful or injurious contact with Margarita Villanueva, no possession of firearms, $100 to family violence and approved family violence counseling center, and the hostility and aggression control course. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, sir.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
No, the state exhibit, one.
No objections to states one or attachments, Judge.
Mr. Mendez, I'm showing you what's entitled waiving consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are we proceeding with sentencing?
It will waive the PSI, Judge. And there's just one request in respect to sentencing, one of the court's reading.
Yes. What is your request?
Judge, Mr. Mendez has been in custody for about 4 months now. On the job. If the court could give him some dispensation and probate some of the fine, it would be helpful to him.
All right. Mr. Mendez, do you have any children?
They're fully grown.
All right. And why are you living with your mom and not on your own?
She had a heart attack and a stroke, and I began to help her. She has the early Alzheimer's.
All right. So I understand that issue, but I'm reading the facts of this case. So until the court receives some sort of statement from her, or she talks to the court, I'm not going to allow you to have contact with her. Is there an issue?
I think that we verified that mom was okay with no harmful or injurious contact today, Judge.
All right, my concern is that you're telling me your mom has a heart condition and that she has early issues with memory.
Yes.
And then I have you pushing her. That's an issue. So, I mean, I don't want you living with her.
Fine.
And that's her desire too, Judge, was our understanding.
That he not live with her.
That was our understanding, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. We did reach out to the complaint witness earlier today while we were kind of putting the plea agreement. She did agree to a no harmful or injurious contact order. However, she did say her wish that the defendant not to reside with.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do is I will allow you to have phone contact with her once you've started your hostility and aggression course. And there's been some improvement, then the court may reconsider. So there's not to be any face-to-face contact. You understand?
Thank you.
All right. Well, I should say in-person contact. If you all want to do the mobile app and talk through video, you're more than welcome to do that. But there's to be no in-person contact, okay? Are you employed?
Not yet.
All right. So the court is going to, as previously stated, there's an affirmative finding of family violence, sentence you to 5 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. There is to be no in-person contact with Margarita Villanueva. And that it will still be no harmful or injurious. So even though you're on the phone with her, you can't be harmful in any way. You understand?
Yes.
There's a $100 to an approved family violence counseling center. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular UAs. What's your issue with narcotics?
I use no one.
And what else? All right, here's the thing. I'm gonna go by what you're telling me, but if you end up testing positive when you're out in the free world for something, we're gonna have issues. So have you ever used anything in the past? Now's the time to tell me, because these conditions of probation are supposed to be put in place to help you be successful. So I won't see you anymore in this situation. So,
The last time was when I was at TDC over 15 years.
and what was that?
Ago.
All right, so we're gonna do regular UAs. I'm gonna want a TAP evaluation. And we'll see what the TAP says. If the TAP says inpatient treatment, we'll start with outpatient treatment. I'm gonna want field visits 2 times per month. That can go towards one of his visitations, and his reporting. And if probation feels that it should go down to once a month after 3 months, then probation may do that. The hostility and aggression control class. Proof of employment within 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home healthcare provider or with minors. 100 hours of community service restitution, 40 of those hours will be waived if you provide proof of the COVID vaccination with booster. I'm not requiring you to get it, but if you do, or you already have it and you present proof, 40 of those hours will be waived. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from me in order to be successful?
No.
All right, you're welcome. I'm showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? Because this is a felony conviction and an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. Mr. Mendez, you only get one mom, usually. And if she's been a great mom to you, you need to be a great mom to her. I mean, a great son to her. You understand? Because here's the thing, when you were a child, I'm sure you did a lot to get on her nerves, but she was very forgiving. And I'm sure everything that you did that maybe was new to you and wasn't new to her, she treated it that way. So sometimes our parents' health decline and we need to make their life as best for them as possible, whatever they're going through. So you say your mom had a heart issue, then you should have been accommodating to her. You say she has mental health issues, you should be accommodating to that. You understand? If you're not going to be a good son, then move out of her life. All right, good luck to you. You're welcome. All right, Deputy Laura, if we can see if they're ready.
It doesn't matter if it's
And say if you want to call your witness back to take your This is so far now. I'm at 4 p.m. I'm past 4 p.m. Really? I could never. Well, see, I wonder when it's like cold. So nice. I can't. Plain water. It's hard for me to like.
I'm gonna need anything.
Better slow down.
How big is that? How big?
Yeah, what is the last?
Yeah. Oh. No, it must be over 6.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Is it one of those that have the times on it?
Yeah, I'm at 8 p.m.
Wow. I'm gonna start drinking more water, so.
Oh, that's right, because the jury. Yeah, I got it.
Oh, Deputy Mejia, was everything straightened out with the cuffs?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because that's what I'm being asking. ASAP, bye-bye. Oh, we're missing one, okay. Do we know where the one is? All right, thank you. Yes, please.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. I see you all are starting to switch seats on me. That's okay. You can move around to different seats. All right, you're still under oath. State, are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
Okay, Ms. Briones. Now earlier in your testimony, you mentioned, that Mr. Trevino told you to say it was an accident. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you tell the police that it was an accident initially?
He threatened my mom and my child. I mean, not directly. But if he knew, and he did know where they lived, and he already, I'm just protecting my child.
At what point did you decide to tell police that he did in fact cause this?
When I woke up completely,
And when was that?
2 years ago today,
just for the record, what is today's date?
February the 15th.
So February 15th of 2021 is when you woke up.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember anything from the offense date of November 23rd, 2020 to February 15th of 2021?
I have. I'm sorry, what dates from November to February?
Yes.
I have a couple of memories, but I was heavily medicated. But I do have a couple of memories of people
what do you-
visiting me.
So can you tell me what you mean by you woke up on February 15th, 2021?
I was very medicated. I was in and out of consciousness. I remember one visit from my mom, but the memories that I have is not enough from November to February. So what I remember mostly is February 15th. I woke up on
And
that day I remember on.
what was it? Did something change or what, can you help the jury understand why you decided at that point to tell people what really happened?
I was going to protect my child with my last dying breath, if that's what it took. For whatever reason, God had me here, and I'm still here. So I was gonna do what's right. I couldn't live with myself. Like, knowing that after I was threatened, after this happened, that I was gonna still be okay with it and try to let it go and just, you know what I mean? Like, oops, okay, you did it, let's go, no, I won't. It should have been enough, it was enough way before this.
Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Defense.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Briones, good afternoon. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to ask only because I can't see you because of the monitors. If you could just move your chair and then closer to the mic so that the lady in front of you in the jury can hear your
Okay.
answers, okay? And then if at any time I'm talking very fast or faster than you can understand, just tell me to slow down or stop.
Yes, sir.
So you can understand my question, okay?
No, yes,
Now, Ms. Briones, let's clear a couple of things up. The last question that the state asked you had to do with your statement that you decided to tell the truth on February 15th of 2021, correct?
yes,
You told the jury that the reason why that was is because you wanted to protect your family or your child, right?
yes,
Okay. But that's not true, right? Because after the incident, after you woke up on February 15th, 2021, you continued to see Aaron Trevino, right?
yes, I did.
Okay. You would go to his house several times, right?
After I was released from the hospital,
Yes, ma'am.
no, I went to live with his grandmother.
Right. So you went to live with his grandmother,
I
right?
did, she took care of me, sir.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So your statement to the jury that on February 15th, 2021, you decided to tell the truth with your family, right?
Yes,
Well, you know it's not true because you continue to see him, right?
I continued to see him because he continued to threaten me afterwards, sir.
Right. But how can he threaten you if you're not seeing him? Right? In fact, let me just clarify this. You're telling the jury,
No, I understand.
you're telling the jury that this man that you claim was threatening you so much, right?
Mhm,
You went to live at his grandmother's house, right?
I did,
Okay. All right.
but
Now,
I'm sorry.
yeah, let me ask you another question. You told the jurors earlier today that in this relationship, right, you claim that Mr. Trevino would not allow you to see anybody else, correct?
Right.
Right? You told the jurors that he would not allow you to communicate with anyone else, correct?
I don't recall saying communicating, but after a while, I was distant from the friends, yes.
So, but you did tell them that. You did tell the jury that Mr. Trevino, according to you, would not allow you to see anyone else, correct?
Yes,
Okay. But that's not true either, right? Because you had contact with Juan Martinez, right?
that's my son's father. Of course, I'm gonna have contact with him.
Okay, that's your son's father, right?
Yes,
And you also had contact with other male friends, right?
there were phone calls.
Right, okay. But these male friends, you had phone calls, right?
Yes, that's all they were phone
Right,
calls.
You had text messages, right?
Yes,
You sent them pictures of yourself, right?
I don't believe so, no.
Do you remember Ms. Briones meeting with the detective Mendez
Yes,
on several occasions? Do you remember when she asked you to do a forensic download on your phone,
yes.
right? You recall, and we'll go through the dates in a little bit.
Mm,
Do you recall when reviewing your text messages, she asked you, right? She said, she was going through your text messages and she said, and this was, again, for the jury to understand, this was after you were out of the hospital. Okay?
yes,
All right. Detective Mendez asked you, she was going through your message, she says, you're not trying to get back with him, are you? Right? She asked you, because in your text messages, right, you were trying to get back with Mr. Trevino, right?
doing whatever I had to do for him to stay content, so my children and my loved ones were not threatened or harmed.
And so you're telling the jury that this gentleman that you fear so much, right? You're telling the jury that your understanding of keeping your children safe is by continuing to see him,
It would have been worse otherwise. Yes, I am.
right? And by continuing to have relationships with this gentleman,
Absolutely, unless someone has been in a physically and emotional abusive relationship, they won't understand.
right? So
They won't.
that's just your testimony.
Yes,
Okay, all right, just to make sure we got that out of the way. So you also texted another guy by the name of Vincent, right?
I didn't text him. No,
Okay.
those were phone calls.
Right, you communicated with.
I
him,
did.
correct? All right. You also communicated with an individual by the name of Delfida, correct?
That's my mother.
That's your mother, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and these were all the times that he was not
Objection, Your
around.
Honor. Non-responsive.
Sustained.
During one of your meetings with Detective Mendez, when she's going through your cell phone, right? You texted Mr. Trevino and you asked him several times to come over to your house, right?
What was the date?
We'll go through the dates. Well,
Okay, I'm not sure because I lived with his grandmother, like I said. She didn't allow him to be there.
Ms. Bernes, you met with Detective Mendez on March 1st, 2021.
Yes,
Recall that? March 24th, 2021, right? And May 12th, 2021, correct?
yes,
All right. On the May 12th interview, we'll get to specifics in a little bit. On the May 12th interview, that's when she asked you, are you still trying to get back with him, right?
and I said no.
What do you say?
I said no.
Because you're shaking your head, yes.
I said no, is
Okay,
what I told her. I'm acknowledging yes.
okay, all
to
right.
you. I did.
But in that particular meeting, Detective Mendez asked you, you're not trying to get back with him, are you?
She did ask me that.
Okay, because you had texted Mr. Trevino asking him several times to go to your house, right?
Object to ask and answer, Your Honor.
Overrule.
To what else are you referring, sir? Like, I mean, I moved out of my apartment. I was at my mother's. If that's what you're referring to, there was a week span between the time that I moved out on the 15th of my apartment and that I stayed with my mom. We were in contact still in that week. After I got out of the hospital, because he went to visit me in the hospital to make sure that I wouldn't talk.
I'm not object to speculation and non-responsive, Judge.
Sustained.
Because you're the one who would initiate the communication, right, Ms. Briones?
At times, yes, I did.
Okay. In fact, on November 23rd, 2020, the day of this incident, you went to Aaron's house.
Yes,
Okay. He didn't force you to come to his house, right?
no,
You went there, right?
yes.
And let's clarify for the jury why you went there, okay? You told the jury a couple minutes ago, maybe a little bit longer than that the reason you went on November 23rd, 2020, you told them you went because you wanted to cook. Well, among other things, I'm not trying to mislead you. Because you wanted to cook for him, correct?
No, he said he was hungry, so I was to take him food to cook for him.
Right.
Okay.
And you also told the jurors that you were gonna go and drop off some lingerie that he requested, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
and he paid for it.
okay. But that's what you told the jurors today, right? Do you recall telling Officer Detective Mendez that the reason you went to that house on November 23rd, 2020 was because there was a barbecue?
No, sir,
You didn't tell her that?
I don't recall.
You told the jurors a couple minutes ago that Aaron's, I guess, father picked you up from your house, correct?
Both did, sir. Yes.
Or now it's they both picked.
No, it's not now. They both did. That's what I said earlier as well. They came to pick me up, him and his father.
Okay. Because when you met with Detective Mendez on May 12th, 2021, you didn't tell her how you got there. Right?
I don't recall telling her.
You told the jury a couple minutes ago that when you arrive at the house, that it's Aaron, right?
Mhm.
His dad is there.
Mhm.
And then you talk about a cousin,
Mhm.
a cousin's wife,
Yes, sir.
and then a child,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So there's 5 people in that house.
No, sir. Aaron's father left.
Okay, so there's 4 people in that house. Okay. But in your interview on May 12th with Detective Mendez, you don't mention the cousin, the wife, or the child.
Because we don't talk. They was separate. They would come and go as they pleased through the front door. I was not close with them. They had their, it was not,
I get it. I think.
they lived there as far as I know, and that was it.
Right. I get the jury understands that you didn't talk to them. I think they understand that. But what I'm saying to you is on May the 12th, you told Detective Mendez that only Aaron and his dad were present.
No, I did not.
Are you sure?
I said that they picked me up, sir. That's what I said.
Okay. All right. You told the jury a couple minutes ago that after you and Mr. Trevino had sex that night, that you waited until you fell asleep before you walked out.
Yes,
All right? Okay. But on May 12th, 2021, you told Detective Mendez that you called for a ride.
I did at 10 o'clock. I called my mother.
Okay, but you didn't tell the jury that, right?
No, I wasn't asked if I made phone calls or anything.
Okay. If you remember what you told Detective Mendez, remember, do you recall that?
What was the question? I'm
Okay,
sorry.
we'll get to that. On several questions I asked you, do you recall what you talked to her? And your statement to the jury was, I don't remember, right?
About the barbecue, I don't recall.
Okay. However, you do recall that you allegedly talked or asked your mom for a ride, correct?
Yes, I do.
But again, you remember, you just didn't tell the jury that, correct?
I wasn't asked.
Because the state asked you, how are you gonna get home? Remember that?
Right.
And you said, I would walk if I have to.
Exactly, and that's what I was doing, because when I called my mother, may I? When I called my mother,
Questions and non-responsive, Judge.
That'll be sustained.
You, on May 12th, 2021, you told Detective Mendez that, or you claimed that Aaron took your phone. Do you recall that?
yes,
Okay. However, you told the jury you didn't tell him anything about Aaron taking your phone, right?
and wasn't asked in those questions, sir, like, it's,
Okay. On May 12th, 2021, you told Detective Mendez that you had the light, right?
no. I did not, sir. I did not.
To be honest, are you telling this jury that in your interview on May 12th, 2021, you did not
told
tell
her that-
Detective Mendez that you had the lighter?
No. I told her I put the gasoline on me, sir.
Okay. We know that you told the jury that you claimed that Aaron had the lighter.
Mhm.
Right? And I think you told the jury that it was a black big light.
Yes, sir.
Also on May 12th, 2021, in your interview with Detective Mendez, you told her that your intentions were not to kill yourself that day, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. But in a previous interview with Detective Mendez on March 24th, 2021, you told her that you did want to kill yourself, right?
No, sir.
You didn't tell that to Detective Mendez.
No, sir. No.
Okay. Let's back up a little bit. Let me ask, you told the jurors right now that the date that stands out in your mind is February 15th, 2021, right?
Yes,
Because you told the jurors that is the day when I decided to come forward and tell the truth,
the day that I woke up, sir.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Well, now we know that on March 24th, 2021, you told Detective Mendez that you wanted to kill yourself, correct?
No, sir.
Did you tell Detective Mendez that you poured gasoline on yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay. On May 12th, 2021, months after you woke up, you switch your story to Detective Mendez, and then you tell her, I did not want to kill myself.
Object to compound question, Your Honor.
That'll be sustained.
Let me backtrack, Ms. Burns. It wasn't my intention to, just to. During your meeting with Detective Mendez on May 12th, 2021, you told her that you initially lied to your mother about your injuries, correct? That was a bad question, but not about your injuries, I apologize. That you lied to your mom about how you got your injuries, right?
Yes, if you consider not disclosing all the information,
So yeah, just to specify,
then yes,
in other words, you didn't tell your mom that you poured gasoline on yourself,
and did it.
correct?
No,
And I think your mom found out through talking with the law enforcement, correct?
no.
Object to lack of personal knowledge.
If you know,
That will be sustained, your objection, and you can ask the question.
if you know, Ms. Verones, if you know, your mother found out about you pouring gasoline on yourself because she talked to other people.
Object to hearsay.
Sustained.
All right. Do you recall meeting with Detective Mendez? The first time you met with her was March 1st, 2021. Right?
Yes, in the hospital.
It's not. And then again, just to make sure the telling is correct to the jury, this is after you woke up and you decided to tell the truth about what happened, correct?
Correct.
I think the day you mentioned was February 15th, 2021,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay. Again, you tell her in that meeting that you went to see Aaron on November 23rd, 2020. Right?
Yes, sir.
You don't tell her who took you there, right? Okay.
No, I don't believe I mentioned that. I don't. He didn't go into all the details.
You're saying that the detective didn't go into details with you?
I didn't specify who picked me up.
Okay.
I didn't, I just that I went over there.
You told the jury something about a protective order, right?
Yes, sir.
To make clear, this protective order was for your protection, right?
Yes,
In other words, that protective order prevented Aaron from visiting you, right?
legally it's supposed to, yes.
Okay. But you're telling the jury that on November 23rd, 2020, you violated that order, correct?
Objection, that's in the statement of the law.
That'll be overruled.
That paper wasn't anything to either of us at that time. It didn't.
Well-
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah, so you went to his house,
Yes, I did.
right? He didn't go to your house, right? In fact, he was living with his dad, right?
Yes.
Now, also on March 1st, 2021, we told Detective Mendez, well, before we get there, a couple minutes ago, we told the jury that all you had with you on November 23rd, 2020 was your purse. You recall that?
Bag that was burned. My purse was in the bag.
Well, right, your purse, okay. But on March 1st, 2021, you kept talking about a backpack. You don't talk about a purse.
That was a previous altercation between him and I.
Well, so March 1st, 2021, right? That is when Detective Mendez is visiting you, right?
Yes,
Okay, and she's asking you about November 23rd, 2020, right? Can you give a statement to her? You recall that?
I recall speaking with her, yes,
Okay,
at the hospital.
at the hospital.
Yes,
Um,
twice at the hospital and I believe twice at my mother's house.
okay, because you claim that he grabbed your backpack, right?
No,
So,
he did in a previous altercation. He did grab my backpack, but not on that day.
okay, so what Detective Mendez has in the report is not true.
Object to lack of personal knowledge. even though it's in the law.
That'll be sustained.
Okay. Then a second, second interview with Detective Mendez was March 24th, 2021. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And where was this interview?
I believe that was at my mother's house, yes.
At your mother's house?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
And at this time, again, you confirmed that you poured gasoline on yourself, correct?
Yes, I do, sir.
Do you recall, meeting with a law enforcement officer by the name of Roman Rodriguez?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you recall giving a statement to Roman Rodriguez?
No, sir.
Do you recall giving a statement to any law enforcement officer telling them that, that you're the one who caused the fire?
I specifically said that day, once I got into the ambulance, I said it was an accident. He helped me and I knocked out.
Okay,
That's what I said.
so I submit to you, Ms. Jones, that Roman Rodriguez is the law enforcement officer who
Okay.
talked to you on November 23rd, 2020.
Object counsel testifying.
All right, that will be overruled.
And so now you're telling the jurors that you do recall telling someone in the ambulance that it was an accident, correct?
I was at the door of the ambulance yelling towards whoever was out there.
Okay. Do you recall telling him that, you claimed you were smoking a cigarette?
No, sir.
Do you recall telling him that you tripped over a gas can?
No, sir, I didn't say that. No, sir, I didn't say that.
So. And this is Officer Rodriguez, you don't recall telling him that, or you don't, or you did not say that?
I didn't say that.
Okay.
Not that day. I didn't say, the only thing that I told whoever officers or whatever, I don't know, the people who were listening to me before I passed out in the back of the ambulance, it was an accident. He helped me.
Ms. Durant, on November 23rd, 2020, you went to his house, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you went to his house, not his house, Aaron's house, excuse me. Because you wanted to keep the relationship together, correct?
No, sir.
That is why you took some lingerie.
No,
correct?
sir.
That is why you slept with him, right?
No, sir.
That is why, when he broke up with you, you got upset, correct?
No, sir.
And that is why you poured gasoline on yourself, right?
No, sir.
And that is why you told him, if you can have me, nobody will, right?
No, sir. No, sir.
No further questions, Judge.
State.
Okay. Ms. Briones, how many times did Mr. Trevino visit you in the hospital?
It's the one time that I remember.
Did he say anything to you while you're at the hospital?
Oh, Judge, to hearsay, Judge.
That would be overruled.
He said that he would take care of me. And I told him that I didn't have nothing for him anymore.
How did it? Did you know he was coming to the hospital?
No, I thought he was my son. He lifted the brim of his hat and I saw that it was him.
How long was he there?
I don't know. It wasn't very long.
Do you remember, was it during the period of time where you were heavily medicated, or was it when you woke up?
No, it was before in February 15th.
Did he threaten you while he was there?
At the hospital?
Yes.
No,
Did you feel threatened?
absolutely.
Judge, ask and answer.
That'll be overruled.
Did you feel threatened?
Absolutely.
Why?
He already did this to me and now he's going to the hospital. It's like, I know what he was there for.
Had you told anybody at that point what had happened?
No.
How did you meet his grandmother?
I had met her beforehand. And his father and him were always working on the truck together. And he took me to meet both of them. We're always together, so I would go with him in the dad's truck. We went to the grandmother's house.
So how did you end up living with his grandmother?
My mother is very, very upset with me because I told Detective Mendez that I wasn't gonna proceed with pressing charges. Because I was being threatened and I was scared and I wasn't gonna proceed with it. I'm sorry, what was the question? I apologize.
Why did you go live with his grandmother?
Oh, my mother was upset. She found out that day that I decided that I told the detective that I wasn't gonna pursue it. And she was very upset. She asked me to leave. She asked me to leave, so I left. I grabbed my things and went and rented a motel room.
So did you maintain contact with his grandmother?
Well, Aaron went with me to the hotel. He would come and go. He would come and go. And I was running out of money. I couldn't pay for it anymore, and basically just took me to his grandmother's and kind of dumped me off there.
You mentioned that the grandmother wouldn't allow him there.
Right.
Can you tell me how you know that?
She was aware of the protective order, and she was not. She was adamant that we were not going to be talking to each other. She didn't want us. She was trying to oversee to make sure that that protective order was going to be, upheld on both ends.
Okay, so how did you then go from living with his grandmother to how long did you live with his grandmother?
Let's see. About 2.5 months.
Where did you go after that?
I went back to my mother's house, my mother's apartment.
So why did you, at some point, did you again decide to cooperate with law enforcement?
I did, because while I was staying at his grandmother's house, another loved one got threatened, and it was enough. Obviously, me trying to placate the situation and be there with him how he wanted wasn't working. He's still, he's very upset that I had contact with Vincent.
With who?
With Vincent. This is my best friend. Like, that's something that we're not ever gonna not have contact, no matter what happens in each other's lives.
Now, since moving back to your mother's house, well, let me ask you, you left the hospital in March?
March the 8th.
Okay. Were you seeing doctors at that time?
Yes, outpatient.
Okay. Do you remember the names of some of your doctors?
And Dr. I'm sorry, you're talking about the head doctors that were working. There was a lot of people
Let's see.
that helped me.
Were there any doctors that you went to repeatedly?
Yes, Dr. Chan was one of them. He's the reconstructive cosmetic surgery, and the orthopedic surgeon.
An orthopedic
He's
surgeon?
such an amazing man. Gosh, I can't remember his name. Yes, another doctor, and then all of the therapists and.
Other than the skin grafting, what procedures do you know that you have?
Okay, so like I said earlier, mentioned earlier, the bone was fused on the right pinky with a pin. And then the flap surgery that I got too, for the scar tissue on my neck. I was not able to turn right or left
Okay.
because of the scarring.
And how has this affected your mobility, your ability to walk and move around in general?
My life is definitely slower than what it was. But everybody around me is genuine and have a lot of love and support.
Pass the witness.
Couple questions, Judge. Ms. Briones. Okay. So you left the hospital March 8th, 2021,
Yes, sir.
okay? And then you tell this juror that after you leave the hospital with all your surgeries, right, and continuing care, your mother kicked you out of her house,
Yes,
okay? And you chose, well, you went to live with Aaron's grandmother, correct?
after I attempted to be on my own in the hotel, yes.
Okay. You told the jurors that you have two children, correct?
I do.
How old are they?
27 and 15.
27 and 15. The 27-year-old, he's 27 now,
28 now.
20 now. So 2 years ago, he would have been 26, maybe. Does he live in town?
Humble, Texas.
Humble, Texas? Okay. Why did you go live with him?
I didn't. He's starting his own life with his. I wasn't about to leave San Antonio. My youngest child is here in San Antonio.
Okay. Your youngest child back then was 13 or 14?
13.
13. And he lives with his dad on
Yes, he does.
Martinez, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in other words, he lived with him, you just go see him on the weekends?
No, it's not only weekend, it's whenever he's available and we would make
Okay.
appointments to meet each other.
After your mom kicked out, you didn't reach out to Juan Martinez, the biological father, correct?
Correct. He's my ex-husband.
I get it. You told the jurors that after your mom kicked you out, when did she kick you out?
I want to say the end of March because I spent my birthday at Aaron's grandma's. Definitely after the 24th, if I saw the Detective Mendez on the 24th. After,
Okay.
I believe that was
March.
the last time I saw her.
Okay.
At my mother,
At your mother's house?
yes.
And what hotel did you live at?
I went to 2 different ones.
What are they called?
I can tell you where, I don't know what they're called. The second one was a Motel 6.
Okay, you don't know where they're at?
Yes, I do.
Okay, where are
The one downtown on 35.
they? Okay,
And and the next exit over from the post office downtown. Cevallos is, I believe it'd be the next one. And then the Motel 6 was off of 35 North. My
Okay.
AT&T.
So you leave the end of March 2021. How long do you stay at the first Motel 6?
We were there a couple of days, I believe.
Couple, like 2 days?
Oh, yeah, I'd say two nights, I believe,
Okay. And then where did you go after that?
to the Motel 6 on 35 North,
And how long were you there?
about a week.
A week. Were you staying by yourself?
No, Aaron would come back and forth.
Back and forth, okay. So in those days, after your mom kicks you out, you need to go to the hospital to continue having, I guess, therapy or on your injuries, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and so you know, to the jury that your mom didn't take you,
right.
right? It was Aaron who was taking you?
No. I didn't go for that, and I didn't start my therapy again until I got stable at his grandmother's,
Okay,
and I have medical transportation for that.
okay. So then at his grandmother's house, at Aaron's grandmother's house.
Yes.
Right? You're telling the jury that he took you to live there?
He took me from the Motel 6 on 35 North to his grandmother's.
Okay. And you're telling the jury that you knew that this protective order was in place, right?
Yes, sir.
And you still chose to violate, it, right?
Yes, sir.
Object again to the misstatement of the law. It's not against her.
That'll be overruled.
How long were you at Aaron's grandmother's house?
About 2.5 months.
Is that going into,
I spent my birthday there, so I was there for the month of April. The latter part of March. And then I was back at my mom's in May.
back in the months of May?
Mhm.
Okay. And then I think during the May 12th, 2021 meeting with Detective Mendez was at your mother's house, right?
May 12th.
Yes, on May 12th, 2021.
Is there one after that? Because she met me twice at the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, there's one on March 1st, 2021.
I'm
March
saying after I
24th.
was released in March, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. After I was released in March, I met her twice afterwards.
Okay. And I get that, I'm not trying to mislead you, but what I'm saying is after you moved into your mom's house around May,
Yes,
so the jury, then you met with Detective Mendez at your house, May 12th, 2021.
yes, sir.
Right, okay. And then it was at that meeting where I guess the detective asked you if you were still seeing Aaron, you said yes, right?
No, she asked me if I still had contact with him.
Okay.
As far as, I mean, I told her not face to face, but I still had phone contact.
You said, sorry, phone contact with him?
Mhm.
And then while you stayed with your mom, did you move out again after May 2021?
On my own, yes.
Or did you, okay, don't need to tell me where, but.
Okay.
You moved on your own, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And when did you move out on your own?
August.
August? 2021?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And from the time you stayed at your mom's house in May 2021 to August, you continue to see Aaron, correct?
Some twice.
Okay. And then when you moved to your apartment or to your house, August 2021, you asked him to come over several times,
No.
right?
No.
You didn't text him to come to your house?
No. I wasn't even living in San Antonio after I moved out in August.
Okay. Again, you don't need to tell me where you were living.
I
but-
understand.
Okay.
No,
Um,
the answer is still no, sir.
okay. No further questions, Judge.
State,
A few questions. When did you move out of San Antonio?
Oh,
What year?
2021.
Why did you move out of San Antonio?
I just needed to be away. I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be in the same city anymore. As you know, I know his I mean, I don't know his family, but I spent time with his family. You know, I I tried to cut off all communication. No contact completely this time.
When we spoke earlier, you talked about some of the assaults that led up to the burning. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you stay with him after he hit you?
Judge, I'm gonna object to ask and answer.
All right, that'll be sustained.
After you were burned. We talked about your physical health. Did you seek any mental health?
I did not until after I was done
What do you mean
with
after you were
therapy.
done?
After I was finished with therapy,
With what therapy?
physical therapy.
So when did you start getting mental health help?
I spoke here and there. I spoke here and there. I white knuckled it until I couldn't handle the PTSD really after.
So when? Was it after you left San Antonio?
No, I was fine in San Antonio. It was quiet. It was peaceful. I was outside of the city. I really just, my faith has gotten me through it. I mean, I'll ask for help if I need it, but I need to be like, it's got to be interrupting my daily life for me to, for me to ask for help. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to do it myself. The nightmare stopped. I was on medication for nightmares, so, felt that I was doing okay.
No further questions, Johnny.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse me.
Subject to recall, Judge.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. Only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state or the defense.
Yes, ma'am.
They're asking that you be subject to recall. Just make sure you're available if you needed to come back.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You may step down.
Thank you.
State, you want to call your next witness?
Mr. Honor, the state calls Kimberly Flores.
Deputy Laura. I'm gonna start video. Start video.
Your Honor, I don't know if she's gonna be able to.
There is a ramp. If she's able to use the ramp, but the last time we used the ramp in the other courtroom. No, it shut. Oh, we know how to use the ramp, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My daughter, can you get the pillow for my daughter?
I'll get the pen.
I'm sorry, I have tumors on my spine. It's very painful.
No, that's no problem. If you ever need to stop, just let us know.
Okay. Thank you. Just put it in my bed. Thanks. Thank you.
Could you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes,
Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you hear will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Kimberly Flores.
All right. State.
Okay, hi, Ms. Flores. Do you live in San Antonio?
Yes,
Um, Are you familiar with East Puff Street?
Yes, I live on East Hill.
Okay. Do you live near 419 East Huff Street?
That's me.
So you live at 419 East Huff Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is 421 East Huff Street in relation to where you live?
To the left of my house, if you're in my house, but if you're on the street, it would be to the right of my house.
Okay, okay. Were you living there on November 23rd of 2020?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And specifically, were you there at, let's see, roughly 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, ma'am. When I was still awake. We were all still awake.
Can you tell the jury what is notable about that date and time for you?
Okay, well, my husband noticed the flames and we both went outside to see what was happening. And by that time, the fire was out, the backyard was all muddy over there. And she was at the sink and she had the water running and she's just screaming, help me, call 911. So I had to call 911. And he was in the bathroom, not bathroom, excuse me. He was in the kitchen, standing behind her while she's got the water running. And he just kept telling her, please.
Object to
please."
hearsay, Judge.
Sustained.
I heard him
I'm
say,
sorry.
it's
Just
on the
one second.
911.
No.
I'll
So here's the way it works in court. And I know sometimes people want to say everything,
Okay,
but what ends up happening is either the state or the defense will make some objections. Once they stand up, stop speaking, they're going to make an objection. And then I'll make a determination on whether or not you can say it. Sometimes it's a matter of maybe the state or the defense needs to lay the proper foundation for certain things, but those are just legally the way everything works. So just wait when someone stands up and then I'll respond to their objection. And if you have a question on whether or not you can answer it, just let me know, okay?
yes,
So
sir.
I'm sustaining the objection, so that means that you can't answer it. And the state will ask their next question.
Well, can I ask you what it was that
No.
I
No,
can't
wait.
say?
No. The way it
Okay.
works in court is both parties get a chance to ask you questions.
Right,
And then if somebody stands up and says an objection,
right,
don't say anything if anybody stands up.
okay,
And when they make an objection, then I will hear what their objection is. And then based upon what it is, I will let you know whether or not you can answer it or not. So I will say things like sustained or overruled. Once I make my ruling, if you have a question of whether or not you can answer, just let me know. And if it'll make it easier for you and for both sides with this witness, once you make your objection and I sustain it or either overrule it, then I'll let the witness know whether or not they can answer it, okay?
That's to get from defense counsel, Judge.
yes.
All right, you may proceed. You're welcome.
I've never been in a courtroom before.
That's okay.
so-
Ms. Flores, you were subpoenaed to be here, correct?
Right, correct.
Um,
I just had surgery 3 months ago. And I'm dealing with my mother who has Alzheimer's and
it's not your choice to be.
no,
No, may I please?
Yes.
No, Ms. Flores, when you were speaking before, you said she and he. So let me.
I don't know their names.
No, that's fine, that's fine. I'm gonna show you. State's exhibit number 2 is a photo of a woman. Is this woman consistent with the lady that you saw that day?
I believe so, because she was staying with him for like a month.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, that was 3 years ago.
Non-responsive, Judge.
All right, so that'll be sustained. That means that you can't continue as answering the question. So stop answering right now. You may ask your next question.
Okay, Now, and the gentleman you were referring to, do you see him in the courtroom?
It would be,
Okay, you know, I'd ask the record to reflect that she identified the defendant. Can you identify an article of clothing just for the record?
on him.
Yeah.
Blue shirt.
Thank you. Now, on the date in question, the woman that's in State's Exhibit number 2, was this the woman who was by the sink washing her hands?
I can't answer that because it was dark,
Okay,
but she was screaming.
Objection, Judge, non responsive.
All right, that'll be sustained.
Okay.
You
I
stop
can't
your
s-
answer. Yeah, the state will ask their next question.
okay. Well, without identifying the identity of the woman, can you describe what this woman was doing?
She was standing at the sink, putting water on her hands and screaming, "Help me, call 911."
Now, was there a man that was with her?
Yes,
Okay. Do you see that man in court?
yes.
Is that the
Blue
man?
shirt. Yes, ma'am.
That's the man you identified with the blue shirt? in court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you hear him saying anything to this woman?
He was asking her, "Please don't tell."
Object to hearsay, Judge.
That'll be
I heard
overruled.
him say it.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Here's the thing.
I
So
know.
I want you, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm having you step outside, just outside for 5 minutes. Remember, you've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to discuss it amongst yourself or deliberate or do any investigation. I will let you know when it's time to do that. Everyone, please rise for the jurors. All right, you can have a seat. Greater detail, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yes. Yes, I will.
Okay. All right, you all can do that, and then you can come forward as well.
Yeah, you can. I'll just,
To do what, to?
just to explain.
Just to explain.
Oh, you mean more than what the court has explained already?
Yeah, if you
Oh.
believe there should be more explanation for her.
No, Judge, the court did a fantastic job.
Well, I just want to say, I know it's. Just, the easiest thing to do is just to listen to my specific question and answer my specific question.
Good.
But wait and make sure there's no objection. If you hear him, if I'm asking you a question, if you hear him saying, anything, just stop talking until, you know, it's.
Good.
never really-
Sure, makes it really.
Okay.
All right. We're ready.
Yes, they went to the half bathroom break.
Okay, all right. If anyone needs a restroom break, everyone is allowed to have their restroom break.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, can you let them know that we're gonna give them a restroom break and we'll have them back here at All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, State, you may continue asking your questions.
Okay, Ms. Flores, I believe where we left off, you were describing a man who was saying something to this woman. What, and it's the man here in court, correct?
I'm sorry.
The man here in court,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. What did you hear him saying to her?
He said, please don't tell, over and over. Just please don't tell, over and over. And I think he told her to forgive it, but I'm not positive on that.
Now, besides what you could hear, what did you see on this woman?
Her body burned, her shirt was gone. She had a towel covering her breasts, and she was screaming, and that's it. The skin was coming off her hands. She couldn't touch nothing. The 911 said for her not to put any water or ice.
So who called 911?
I did, because she was screaming to please someone help her.
How loud was she screaming?
Loud enough for me to hear her in my house.
And when you saw her, did you see anything on fire?
No. The
Yes.
fire was put out.
Did it seem as though she was acting as if she was still on fire?
Yes, she was screaming, and she didn't know what to do about it, where to touch, her back was all red. She was just screaming, somebody please help me.
And this, the man in the court today who was telling her, don't say anything. Was he doing anything to help her?
No,
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
thank you.
Did you see anyone on the phone who could have been calling 911 at the time?
No, ma'am,
So what did you do?
call 911. And I told her I was calling.
Now, did you review that call before you came to court?
Have I what?
Did you review the call that you made before you came to court?
No, ma'am, nobody. No.
Was there a disc that you listened to?
Was there something I listened to?
Okay.
No, ma'am. Nobody's.
Oh. Okay.
Are we able to listen to it?
Your Honor,
Oh, I'm
would
sorry.
offer,
Your
may I
Honor.
confer with defense counsel briefly, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I? You are gonna need that much. Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Defense.
Ms. Flores, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Flores, I'm gonna ask you to just lean into the mic a little bit. So the lady in front of you and the jury can hear your answers, okay?
Yes, sir.
I just have a couple of questions for you, Ms. Flores. Do you remember having a phone call with a detective by the name of Rachel Mendez?
Yes, Mendez, I remember.
Okay, this
I didn't
was,
know her first name, I'm sorry.
that's fine. This was around March 30th, 2021. And do you recall that she asked you if she could record the conversation, right?
Yes, sir, she recorded our conversation.
Um. You told Detective Mendez that when you went outside. I guess outside of your house to see what was going on, the flames were out and the backyard was all wet, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you told the jury that the only two people you saw. I guess in your next door was Aaron. And then Ms. Briones, the lady you identified on the photo, right?
Yes,
And then I think during that phone call, Detective Mendez asked you a question. And you told her that you couldn't say for sure what happened because you didn't see anything, right?
I did not see anybody throw anything on her, no.
All right. No further questions, Judge.
State.
No further questions, Judge.
Is this witness excused or subject for recall?
They're excused, Judge.
Subject to recall. For now, Your Honor.
All right. Rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state of the defense. Just make sure you're available if someone wishes to recall you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone need to help the witness? And state, you can call your next witness.
We'll call Dr. Chan, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. All right, if you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, if you can make sure you keep your voice up so that the jurors and the court reporter can hear. If you could state your name for the record.
Rodney Chan.
All right, state.
Okay, Dr. Chan, how are you presently employed?
I work at the burn center at Brooke Army Medical Center.
And in what capacity do you work there?
I'm a plastic surgeon and I do their, reconstructive surgery, mostly on burn survivors.
And can you tell the jury a little bit about your education and background?
So I went to college in Boston at MIT. I went to Harvard Medical School after that. And then I completed a general surgery residency in Boston at Brigham and Women's Hospital. Then a plastic surgery fellowship in Boston at the Harvard Combined Program in Plastic Surgery. And since then, I've lived in San Antonio.
And how long have you worked out of Bancy?
About 13 years.
Okay. Do you recall having a client by the name of Regina Briones?
Yes, I remember Ms. Briones as a patient.
Now, in your capacity as a plastic surgeon with the burn unit, when you are looking at someone who has been burned, what is typically, when do you get involved with the process?
I get involved typically one of two stages. In her case, it was both. So usually when a patient first arrives at the burn center, acutely burned, I would get involved if their injury is very severe or it involves the hand and the face. So in her case, she has involvement of both hands and face. So I think I was involved early during her acute hospitalization to assist with the coverage and debridement and care of those areas. And then I usually get involved again after they leave the hospital and after they've kind of begin to readjust into regular life and try to understand what sort of issues they're having in trying to readjust. And so I get involved again as an outpatient, and that was for her as well.
Okay. Nana, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm gonna show you what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit number 9. Is that Ms. Briones?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how many procedures would you estimate that you have completed in Ms. Briones' care?
So I definitely don't remember the exact number, but I would probably estimate it as something just maybe a little bit over 10.
Okay. And is there one area in particular that you have done extensive work on?
Yeah, her head and neck in general has had a lot of injuries, and she when she was an outpatient, she had a lot of issues really like moving her neck. So she couldn't turn it like side to side, she couldn't like lift her head up, and the photo itself also illustrates that it's sort of pulling down on her, the side of her mouth is pulling down her eyes. So it was an area that really needed to be released. So a lot of the operations were done to address that area.
Exhibit number 9. I can get that. Okay, here we go. State's Exhibit number 9. Okay, so specifically this area right here. Is that the area where it limited her mobility?
I would say that that's part of the area that limited the mobility. I would say that she had a little bit of normal skin that's behind her neck, but basically everything that's from that band that you're pointing out and then going all the way around her neck is what I call abnormal skin and scar. So all those areas were limiting her mobility. She was particularly limited in that right side, but really it was all around her neck.
Okay, so is it fair to say she really couldn't move her neck?
Yes.
So, and what did you do to help her?
So we need to do two things. We need to do like a release, meaning disrupt the scar so that her neck can have the free range of motion. But then in order to do that, we also have to cover this release, because you could sort of imagine that if one were just to make an incision and release that scar, there's going to be a large open wound that's present there. And so I have to kind of look for a place in order to find tissue in order to cover that open wound. So we went to her thigh to expand skin in order to try to cover that area for her.
And is it typical to go down to the thigh to get skin?
It's not atypical. I think it's typically a reasonable donor site. In her case, she didn't really have a lot of skin, so that's the reason why we had to do the tissue expansion so that we can almost like grow a little bit more skin for her.
Okay, and what goes into a tissue expansion?
There are multiple operations that's in preparation for the skin to be harvested. So one of the operations is one to insert a tissue expander. So that's one operation. When the tissue expander is first inserted, there's not really it's basically like an empty bag of saline. So over the course of usually 3 to 4 to 5 months, we then slowly inflate that bag, kind of growing like the balloon, so to speak, to expand that skin. And then there's an operation then afterwards to take out the tissue expander and then take that skin for whatever purpose that we were doing. And in her case was the neck release.
What other surgeries for someone with burns as severe as hers? What are some other common surgeries that would be attributable to her condition?
Yeah, so I think even on the photo you can sort of see that her upper and lower lip has a lot of scarring, and so she also probably has some issues like with opening her mouth because of the scarring. So so I would see that releasing the scar or doing an operation to help her open her mouth would be necessary.
I'll show you a few more photos. State's exhibit number 13. Can you help us understand what these marks are?
So you don't happen to know the body part, do you?
I believe that's her arm.
That's her arm. Okay. Yeah, so what you're looking at is essentially a hypertrophic scar. These are areas that she has previous burns, and skin replacement in the form of a skin graft was used to cover the area of burn. But there are certain areas that doesn't heal quite well, and it's forming these sort of ropey, thick, and tight scars. And those are, it contributes to limitation of her movement.
So I'm going to show you, I think, more. I don't know if it's the same arm or the other arm, but is that kind of continues all of her arm?
Yeah, so you can sort of see that this is the arm, the elbow, the forearm, the wrist, and this scar is contiguous. So it goes from the arm past the elbow into the forearm, into the wrist. And so essentially I could sort of see that, or you can even see on the photo that the scar is limiting her elbow range of motion.
I believe this is the other arm. Is that the same kind of scarring we're seeing there too?
Similar, but this one's probably a little bit worse. You can sort of see that she has an open wound at the level of the elbow, and we sort of see that when the scar is so tight that the wound really just doesn't have a chance to heal.
So would it be safe to say that this significantly impacts her mobility?
Yes, I would say that based on this, she has limitation of mobility in her joints. And
to your knowledge, have you had any procedures with her to try to remedy that, or is that something she would have to do later?
I don't necessarily recall whether an operation was done to kind of help that, but surely she'll probably need more in the future.
And then on State's exhibit number 5, her back. This pattern here, is that from the skin graft?
That's correct. So that she had more areas of burn than she had normal skin available. So in order to have enough skin to cover her, we have to expand and mesh the skin graft. So you see this kind of alligator, pattern, what we call mesh pattern scarring. That's that you're pointing out.
And then State's exhibit number 6, her ears. What, if anything, can be done about her ears?
Yeah, so it looks like she's lost like the helix and the antihelix. That's the area of the ear that kind of protrudes out. And so she has 2 options really, to to reconstruct your ear using her own tissue, or we can do what we call an osseointegrated implant, where we actually just custom make an ear kind of using plastic, but then do these metal posts where she can kind of wear an ear.
And then I'm gonna show you state's exhibit number 7.
So she has burns to her hand, or previous burn to her hand that was previously skin grafted. She to mobility, one because of the tightness of the dorsum of the hand, but also she has a lot of web space contractures that prevents her from like opening up her fingers. And so these are all operations that will likely need to be done in the future if she wants to improve her range of motion.
And the webbing, is that from scar tissue?
Correct. That's the burn scar, and that's limiting her her abduction.
And then state's exhibit number 12. Is this right here? Is that where the tissue for the throat was taken?
You know, I can't tell based on that photo, but it was on her thigh somewhere.
And then I'm gonna show you state's exhibit number 14. This is a shot of her upper torso. Do you recall any attempts of reconstructive surgery with her chest?
See that the scar, it goes basically from her head and neck, or lower lip and chin, I would say, through her neck onto her chest. So it's like one contiguous scar. So I think the only thing that was really done was the neck release, which brought in extra tissue to disrupt that vector. And so the lower lip kind of was released a little bit based on that. And her chest probably became a little bit less tight because of that. But beyond that, I don't think anything else was done.
Thank you. Are you aware if she has any further surgeries planned with you?
I'm not aware.
And you were able to view her in court today, correct?
Yes,
Are there still more reconstructive operations that can be done on her?
for sure. You know, someone who has that extensive burns will, you know, will have a lot of reconstructive needs.
Pass the witness.
There's no questions of Dr. Chan.
All right, is this witness excused or subject to recall?
Excuse for the
Excuse,
statement.
Judge.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state of the defense. Okay, well, thank you. State, call your next witness.
Custodian of record for the San Antonio Police Department.
All right, if you come forward, miss, and take a seat here, please. If you will raise your hand for me, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
All right, make sure you keep your voice up, and if you could state your name for the record.
okay. Ruby Zamaripa?
State.
Good afternoon, Mr. Maripa. Can you please tell the jury where you're currently employed?
Yes, I am the custodian of records and paralegal for the San Antonio Police Department Communications Unit.
And what is your position? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a paralegal and the custodian of records.
Thank you. And what does that position involve?
I maintain a recording system for all 911 calls, non-emergency calls, police radio transmissions, and text to 911.
And what records or documentation are generated when someone calls 911?
An incident detail report.
And I have one more. And somebody, were you able to locate an incident detail report related to SAPD number 2022-3336?
Yes,
And was there a 911 call received associated with that San Antonio Police Department number?
yes, there was.
And do you recall what date the call was made?
I don't know the exact date without looking at the incident report.
Just remembering that. Ms. Amitabha, when someone calls 911, how are the 911 calls recorded?
Through an automated recording system.
And are those 911 calls saved? How are those 911 calls, or where are they? saved?
In the automated recording system.
And are you one of the custodians of that system?
Yes, I am.
And is it the regular practice of the San Antonio Police Department to record and store those 911 calls?
Yes, it is.
And what type of equipment are those recordings made on?
What do you,
Are they processed through some kind of a database or?
yes, a computer database. Yeah.
And are those 911 calls recorded at the time the 911 call is made?
Yes, as soon as the call taker picks up the phone, the recording starts.
And are all 911 calls saved for any reason, or is there a particular 911 call not saved?
Every single call that comes in is recorded.
And again, those are recorded at the time of the 911 call, correct?
Correct.
And is it the regular course of your department to store all of those 911 calls?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Amadua, using the SAPD number, were you previously able to pull that incident detail report?
Yes.
And were you able to locate the 911 call that was made related to that SAPD number?
Yes.
And have you previously listened to that? 911?
Yes, I did.
And was that 911 call played for you earlier today?
Yes, it was.
And Your Honor, if I can approach the witness.
Yes.
Thank you. And Ms. Samaripa, I'm showing you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 17. Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
It is a recording of the 911 call that was made.
And you replayed this earlier, previously before testifying?
Yes,
correct?
I would.
And is that your signature on the disc?
Yes,
The
it-
911 call?
Yes, it is. Sorry.
Is that your signature on the 911 call disc?
Yes, it is.
And is the disc dated as well?
Yes, it is.
And what is the date on that disc?
February 15th, 2023.
And Ms. Samaripa, was that recording that was played for you, the same 911 call that was made on the related to SAPD number 2022-3336?
Yes.
And that was the 911 call that was dispatched to 419 East Elm Street in San Antonio, Texas, correct?
Yes. That's
And the recording on the disc, to the best of your knowledge, has that been altered in any way?
no, it had not.
And Your Honor, the state would seek to amend states exhibit numbers, or seek to publish states exhibit numbers 17. Yes, I apologize, Your Honor. The state seeking to offer states exhibit number 17 to tell.
Any objection?
Judge, objection to state 17, I don't think that the witness has identified the SAPD case number. She mentioned that she would have to look at the incident report to see if that number is the one that's on the DVD.
Your Honor, the witness did indicate that she was previously able to pull the incident detail report that is related to the SAPD number given to her, and that she did previously review that 911 call before being presented the 911 call on the disc today. She did testify that that 911 call matches the one that she previously heard, and that it is the same one related to that SAPD.
Defense?
Judge, I have no disagreement that she heard that DVD, but I think she testified that she doesn't recall the incident number because she hasn't seen the incident report.
All right, would you like to show the witness the incident report?
If I can have a moment, Your Honor.
Of course.
Your Honor, if I may first witness.
Yes.
And Ms. Samaripa, I'm presenting to you what's been previously marked as state's exhibit number 18. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And what is that document?
It is the incident detail report for the 911 call that was created.
And is there an SAPD number indicated or related to that incident detail report?
Yes, the case number.
And what is that SAPD number?
SAPD 2022-3336.
And what is the date that that 911 call was?
It was made on 11/23/2020.
And to the best of your knowledge, is that or strike that question.
Your Honor, the state would seek to offer state's exhibit number 17 as evidence.
No objection from defense counsel.
All right, state's exhibit number 17 is admitted without objection.
Your Honor, the state would seek to publish state's exhibit number.
All right, that will be granted. And to the jury, both parties have agreed because there is a little issue with some of the technology. Both the state and defense have agreed that I play it on my system. So everyone cross your fingers. And it's moving very slow. And just like that, we've lost it. Just 1 second. All right, are you all ready for the court to play both sides?
Defense is ready, Judge.
State so.
Okay.
You need police, fire, or EMS. Hello, Sanitary 911.
We need a EMS.
Stay on the line. Let me connect you with EMS. Stay on the line.
San Antonio Fire EMS.
Yes, the lady next door got burned by gasoline. We need help, please.
Was she on fire?
Her hands. She's holding her hands and she's screaming, "Please help me."
What's the address?
421 East Huff.
Okay, and was her hands on fire? Are they burnt? Can you see them?
Yes. She's in her kitchen right now. I'm standing next door. She's screaming, "Help me!" And the man said there was an accidental gasoline fire. I don't know.
Okay, how old is she?
I don't know.
How does she look? If you had to guess, 20s, 30s, 50s?
Between 20 and 30.
Okay. And they said there was a gasoline accident?
Yeah, but they were fighting earlier today, all day.
Okay, they've been fighting all day.
But I didn't say that.
Okay.
He says they're telling her something right now.
Is he yelling at her?
No. They're whispering out right now. Like I said, they're in the kitchen. I'm standing out back watching, but she was screaming, "Help me." That's why I called. I told her not to touch anything with her hands because I don't know how bad her hands are.
And they told you it was gasoline?
Yes, he's all wet. There was a fire out in the backyard and he had turned on the water hose and he's all wet. And she said her hands, she was in the kitchen with her hands under the water faucet screaming, "Help me." And I told her I'm calling 911 right now. And she said, "Help me, please call 911. Please call 911.
Okay. If you see her, like, wrap it in a clean towel. Clean towel, nothing that's, she has a towel around her. Did you see any blisters around it?
No, I haven't seen what she looks like at all.
Okay. And you're outside the door?
It's dark out here. I'm in my yard. They're in their yard. It's dark out here. Someone's here. Over here.
Is that the cops?
I don't know. They got a flashlight. Who is it? Oh, it's a family member. He's looking at the gasoline, I think. They're on the way. 911's coming. And her arms. Is it her arms? What part of her's on burned? It's her hands. Oh my God.
Her hands in her arms?
Yes, it looks like her hands in her arms. It looks like she's not wearing a shirt. It looks like she might be wearing the towel.
does it look all pink or red? Is it bleeding or blistered that you can see? It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just whatever you can see and give to me. And what's your name?
My name is Kimberly Flores. I live right next door to 419. They said to get a clean towel and wrap her hand in a clean towel.
Clean, dry towel.
Clean, dry towel. They said to wrap her hand in a clean, dry towel. Clean, dry. She said it burns and she's swollen and it hurts.
Okay, ask her, does she have blisters or did they already pop? Is it the skin peeling?
Does she have blisters? Yes, the skin is peeling. It's peeling. They both said they're peeling. Her whole back is red. Oh my God.
Her back is on fire? She's not wearing a top? Her back is on fire too?
She's not wearing a
Her
shirt.
torso is on fire?
It looked like it was, she just went to the front yard. Her whole arms, her back and her hands are falling off. The skin, she said, is falling off. They just went to the front yard. I guess let's go to the front.
There's landmines all here.
Well, I didn't know that.
I didn't get a chance to tell you.
Well, I came out to tell them what's going on. We see fire and
And there was a fire going on in the background?
there was a fire in the back. We heard our dog going crazy, so we came outside to see what was happening. Like I said, they had been fighting earlier in the day, and my husband looked out the window and he saw a big fire happening. And then all of a sudden, when I came outside with my phone, she's screaming, "Help me, help me."
Okay, they're almost there. They're on Huff right now, okay?
You don't have to be out there.
All right, Kimberly, well, thank you for calling. I got EMS and I also have PD headed that way also.
All right, thank you. Hurry.
Okay, we're almost there.
Bye.
Bye.
State that's the channel.
Right, defense.
Judge, no questions for Ms. Samarripa.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse from defense.
All right, the rule has been invoked. What that means is you can't discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to are attorneys for the state of the defense. Thank you. Thank you. State, call your next witness. Yes. Take a 15-minute recess. And then I will have you all brought back. Remember, you've heard some evidence in this case. You're not allowed to deliberate amongst yourselves. You're not allowed to talk to anyone about what you've heard. You're not allowed to do any investigations. I don't expect this to be in the media or on social media or any type of media, but if it is, you need to ignore it. Everything you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand? All right, thank you, everyone. Please stand up.
Yes, Judge, I'm sure I did. My phone's on airplane mode, so not to.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
But so that's just a tentative one. So if y'all start thinking about what you would like to add or subtract,
That's right.
just let me know and we'll send it to the staff. attorney.
Judge, you say tomorrow we're starting at 1:30, and
Yes,
then Friday at 9 or 10?
Friday at 9 for closing arguments.
Okay.
Yes, we're ready.
All right, for the jury.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what we're gonna do is we're gonna recess today. We're gonna start tomorrow at 1:30. Now, because parking is the way it is, usually people, I say, go off campus for lunch sometimes. So if you come here by 11:30 or 11:45, there'll probably be parking that's available because people will have left the garage to go to lunch. Tentatively, I'm being told to expect closing arguments in this case on Friday. So if that happens, then what will end up happening is on Friday, we'll start exactly at 9, even though I have a docket, I'll move that docket to the afternoon and put this case Friday at 9. So tomorrow we'll start at 1:30 and then Friday at 9. You all should remember this. Yes.
Tomorrow, do we plan any rounds?
Tomorrow, we are going to, we may end up finishing earlier than today. It just really depends. You know, I never know. I'm like you all. I don't know what witnesses are going to be called. So I'm not 100% sure, and I really can't give you a prediction on that. But you all should remember this. Now, I probably don't have to repeat it, but I do it every time. You're not allowed to deliberate amongst yourselves. You're not allowed to talk amongst yourselves about what you've heard today. Don't talk to anybody else about this case. If you see or hear anything about this case on social media or from other people, ignore it. Please keep your badges visual displayed so that people will know you're on a jury and they won't talk to you about anything. Do not do any investigation. Everything you need to know about this case is to come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And because of the time, you will definitely beat rush hour traffic, but maybe not construction. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors.